Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and KD Hugnall. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose.
Thank you for downloading this special ThunderCast episode. If you're watching over on YouTube, you'll see I have guest Tyler Ferris. If you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform, I just told you who I've got with me. But Tyler comes back to work for the Big Green after a little time away. And Tyler, I want to say welcome back to the herd, and also welcome back to the Big Green. And then welcome back to the ThunderCast.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that, Russ. It's exciting to be home, and I'm excited to be on here today. I think we have a lot of exciting things going on in athletics, and I'm proud to share some of that with you.
Yeah, and you've been on the show before. The last time you were here, you came on with Chad Pennington, and now you didn't. So my first question to you is, what gives? I expected to get Chad every time I got you. What's up with that?
You know, I actually haven't caught up with Chad since I've been back, but I'm sure we'll circle back here soon. And hopefully next time I'm on here, we'll have Chad with us.
Yeah, your sidekick, Chad Pennington. We'll get him back on here the next time. Tyler, if you would, go over your role with the Big Green that you have right now, the title that you have, and that sort of thing.
So, yeah, I'm the Associate Athletic Director for Major Gifts now. And all that to be said, I wear a bunch of hats, but my primary focus now is to try to navigate and find some major gifts that can make some transformational changes here to the athletics department. And what we define major gifts as, that's your $25,000 gift and above. So our endowed scholarships, those are 5-year commitments of $25,000 total. So pretty much anything there, that's the baseline, and then anything up. But that would sell myself short. I think at the Big Green, and we know how Marshall University works, we all try to pitch in where we can. And like I said, we wear a ton of hats.
And today we're not talking about the $25,000 major gifts. The reason you're on the show is we're talking about the new donor levels that came out, and we're going to try to help fans. If they're watching, they're going to have some visual aids here that we're going to put on the screen. If you're listening, you'll just have to listen to where we're telling you to go to find these, or you can contact Tyler. You can contact anybody at the Big Green, but they're all over social media already. But let's talk about that a little bit. Small little changes, and I've got the chart here that I would like to bring up, and there it is for anyone watching with us on YouTube. You can see those first 4 categories that are in black up at the top. There's some minor changes to the minimum, and what used to be a $1,500 level has been reduced. What would you like to tell us about these?
I think to start, we'll start with those 4 black categories there. When I started here in 2020, way back when, I think the levels and benefits chart back then had been that way for several years, and all the way up until about a month and a half ago, it remained the same. We wanted to simplify it, how it affects your annual fund members. Our folks that are buying parking, getting tickets at football, basketball, soccer, and try to simplify that as much as we can. Obviously, I think the biggest thing you'll notice, the entry level, that one herd level is now $100 rather than $60. Basically, to explain that change, I don't think the minimum to join Big Green had changed from $60, and Rush, you might even know more than myself, but it had been at least 10, 15 years.
Definitely well over a decade. Well over a decade, $5 a month. That was something we talked about this on this show since it was created. We always said $5 a month, $5 a month, $5 a month. Well, everything else has gone up, and you guys did not. So it's kind of one of those things that's probably been overdue for a long time, and you guys just constantly allowed people to get in at a very small donation. And this is still just over $8 a month, $8.33, I think it is.
$8.33 a month. So it's actually, we didn't go up as much as your Netflix subscription.
Yeah,
so that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go get a value meal anywhere at a fast food restaurant, it's going to be more than $8.33 a month. Still a very good bargain for anyone that gets the herd perks and the Perks Connect, which we have gone over on this quite a bit. And if you want to touch on any of that, you can. If not, we have beaten it as much. You can get back more than your $8.33 a month from places that you are already frequenting here. And if you're not looking under Perks Connect, you're missing out on even more bargains because it's not just here, but it's hotels anywhere you travel. It's you put your zip code in. If you're going to Orlando, there will be a lot of different places to eat, services, hotels, that sort of thing. You're missing out if you're not using Perks Connect, and you can definitely get more than your money back.
Absolutely. I know that's one of the big changes that occurred while I was gone over the last couple of years. I used to be really involved with the herd perks in my original tenure here, and that was the biggest shot at it, was that everything was localized. So our folks that are rooting from afar, North Carolina, Florida, they didn't really have a benefit there. And now, like you said, you can get that benefit all over the country.
Yeah, you do not have to live here in the tri-state area to take advantage of that. We still have some extremely gracious vendors and business owners around here that have made these perks available to everyone. It makes it a great value for those that are living here. But again, you do not need to be living here to take advantage of that. So I encourage anyone watching or listening, if you're not a Big Green member, get in at the lowest level at least, and maybe even make some money while you're supporting the herd. But Tyler, before we move on from that $60 to now $100 level, just doing some rudimentary math, that's more than 110% increase. So a question that I have is, anyone that was in previously at $60 that is now going to move to 100, do they qualify for at least that first year for the 110% club?
Absolutely. If you were a $60 member last year and you join back with us this year at 100, we will more than honor you in that 110% club. And basically, those are monthly drawings to win a lot of cool prizes. We haven't done one since I've been back, so Russ, I may lean on you if you have the knowledge of what we did for our last drawing. But I know it's some really cool prizes.
Not the last one that I remember, but someone got to throw out the first pitch. Someone got away tickets to Georgia, I think it was. So, I mean, there were some really cool prizes in there, some swag on some of them. But it's something that if you are getting the Big Green emails because you are a member, you will have gotten, hey, here's the upcoming drawings. There's a little chart that they put together. Here's what's coming up in August. Here's what's coming up here. And it's just a great incentive for those of us who are doing 110%. And if you are not currently doing 110%, when you renew or at any time, you can contact the Big Green and say, I would like to enroll in the 110% club. That way, if you're giving 100 this year, you're giving $110 next year, and then so on and so on, and be 121 the year after that. It's allowing you to come up incrementally and help Marshall a little bit more without breaking the bank, I guess. If everyone gave 110%, we would all increase the Big Green by at least 10% year over year.
Absolutely. And every little bit makes the biggest difference. It really does. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it is so true.
It is so true. And it's everywhere. But, we have passionate fans that want to help Marshall. And what better way than to do donations to the Big Green? And if you are able to do that 110% and ease your way up to those next levels over time, that's a great way to do it. Didn't want to take too much of your time on that one category, but that jump, I wanted to make sure everyone knew that they were going to be able to get 110% club membership.
Sure. And I'll shoot down the list there. Just a couple of highlights. If you're a Big Green member, you get access to purchase away game tickets, postseason tickets. So when we travel up to Penn State, you're going to want to be a Big Green member to snag those tickets. Something that is new that's on here, if you'll notice the 2020 dugout and tip-off club line there. All we're asking is that if you are going to join those, and basically, if you don't know, the 2020 club is the VIP club at our men's soccer matches, the dugout club, the same for baseball, and tip-off club at basketball. So if you're going to join those, take part in those activities, we just ask that you're a Big Green member. We've never required that, but it really does go a long way if we could get everybody that's supporting those programs directly just to join at the lowest level of Big Green and help us grow that. Other than that, I think everything else at that level is pretty much going to remain the same. Kind of moving up, not a lot of changes. Your seating requirements, if you have a chairback seat at men's basketball or at football, that requirement's been 300 and that'll stay the same. If you want to get a Thunder table, which is a pretty cool premium area in men's basketball, right behind the basket, that's the $600 level there. I think that's the biggest jump for 600. And then you'll see the $1,000 level, formerly the $1,500 level, to get premium parking at football and men's basketball. And we'll go over that, I think, once we break off and look at this calculator here in a few minutes.
Yeah. So just to touch on that, you said reduced or brought down. It used to be $1,500, and you've cut it by a third. It's down to $1,000. So what you were formerly paying $1,500 to have your right to get a spot out there on the west lot, or where I'm at on the C lot, the church lot, if they're over on softball, those premium places were $1,500. Now it's $1,000 on there. And that's because the parking does not also cover your seating requirements. And we'll get into that in just a minute, like you said, with the calculator. But you didn't have to drop it down. You could have kept it at $1,500, but you did. You dropped it down. So someone that wasn't giving $1,500 before and wants to get a parking spot, now it's a little more attractive for them to do so for the first time. So again, brought it down. What else here? We got other categories over on the green. I know some of these were not categories. Things have been added. Anything you want to talk about on those?
Sure. Yeah. Those three green levels up there, those are cumulative. I hope I said that right. Giving levels. So basically, folks that are buying a significant amount of chairback seats, a couple parking spots. This is a way to kind of incentivize them on top of that. So let's say somebody had 10 chairbacks and 2 parking spots. If I'm doing my math correctly, that's $5,000 there. And now you're going to be put into that herd coaches circle, which comes with the opportunity. You'll get exclusive apparel with herd coaches circle on it, things you can't buy anywhere, get anywhere else. And then obviously so on and so forth with the Champions Club and the Forever Society as well. We're going to have these First Fridays, which this was a Gerald Harrison initiative. So we'll have First Friday of every month. The AD or someone in his cabinet will host private events. And, at that, I believe that starts out at the Champions Club level. So if you're in that Champions Club, you're going to get invitations to these private exclusive events, which will be pretty neat. And then, traveling to away games. If you have ever thought about wanting to be on a flight to fly with a football team, basketball team, soccer team, you'll get invitations to that once you get up to that 10,000 level. And then I think the big thing with the Forever Society at 15,000, you get these premium experiences. So, every AD in the country gets access to college football playoff tickets, the Final Four. If you're at that level, there's a chance you're probably going to be invited on those trips.
Wow. This is just a little bit more giving back. I know there's going to be people listening or watching and say, well, that $15,000, it sounds great. It's not in my budget. And again, It's not for everybody, but just that Marshall is taking the initiative to try to give back to the fans that are giving these things. Again, for as little as $8.33 a month, you can get the herd perks and the perks connect and save more than $8.33. So every person on here, there's something for them. Before we move on to any kind of calculator or anything else, I just want to say that I also hear some people questioning sometimes. I don't know where my money's going. I don't know that. And I'd just like to say you're with the Big Green Scholarship Foundation. It wouldn't have the word scholarship in there if that's not where the money goes. So
Sure.
if we could just tell everybody that's joining the Big Green where their money is going so they don't think, is this going to NIL? Is this going over here for facilities? What's it going for, if you would?
The Big Green's primary focus has always been athletic scholarships. Obviously, the whole college landscape is changing, and we're not going to stand by and wait around for those changes to affect us. So, but like you're saying, the annual fund is always going to be primarily focused on scholarships. Those are unrestricted funds, so those do go towards sometimes helping. If we have some sort of signage emergency at the stadium, those types of things. Big Green's involved with a lot of what any money that's coming into athletics usually comes through our office first. But like you said, the NIL stuff, that's going to be down the road. I think rev share is going to be really important for us to stay competitive at the D1 level. So Big Green, we're going to be a part of that. We're working towards that now and figuring out what that looks like. But like you said, our primary focus is always going to remain the athletic scholarship.
Yeah, and NIL right now is through the Thunder Trust. It's totally separate than this. So, if they want to join that, it's that. Rev share is totally different. But right now, just talking scholarships, this is getting right from marshallbiggreen.org, which anyone needs to bookmark that site. Go there. It has a lot of information, a lot of places to sign up, and this calculator we're getting ready to talk about. But it says over 430 student athletes from 38 states, 25 countries in 18 D1 sports. So you are literally helping bring these student athletes here. Student is first. Student athletes to have scholarships so they can come here and become a son or daughter of Marshall. And that's what your Big Green donation does.
Absolutely.
All right, Tyler, anything else before we talk about this contribution calculator?
Let's dive in. I think that'll answer any questions that might come up from these levels of benefits we'll tackle on this calculator.
All right, so I've got it pulled up here, and I'm going to share it now, share my screen. But the Big Green contribution calculator is right here. Tyler, does that look okay? I had to go off the screen for a second.
Yeah, it's fine, and it's a little wide shot here, but we'll be able to scroll down and show you everything that it can calculate.
All right, so how you're going to get to this first here, support the herd contribution calculator. It's right there. So hover over that, go down to contribution calculator. This is going to come up. So Tyler, I'm going to fill it in. You tell me what we're doing here as far as tickets, parking, that sort of thing, and I'm just going to fill them in.
Sure thing. Let's say, Russ, you have two West chairbacks. So that's a $300 seat requirement per seat.
All right.
I imagine you probably have a parking spot. Like you said, I think you said C lot.
I have one in the C lot. Let's do that.
Let's plug that in there. How many basketball tickets do you have?
Let's say 2 on those in section 109. And that's in the corner.
All right. Add those in there. Scroll a bit. You have women's basketball tickets?
Women's basketball, they're in 102. Let's add 2 there.
Okay. All right.
And then baseball over there in section 101. Let's add 2 of them there.
All right, and you've got to have men's soccer tickets, right?
Men's soccer, we got to get 2 of them there.
All right. Now, if you look at the bottom here where it totals our big green contribution, you'll notice that you're only paying your requirement of $1,600. And the reason it's $1,600, you have your $1,000 requirement for your parking spot at football
right here,
and then I believe you had 2 chairbacks on the west side of the stadium.
Yeah.
Those are $300 contributions. So $1,600. If you'll notice, none of the additional seats that you have, so men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, men's soccer, none of that added to your total,
right?
Because those are more than covered with those $300 requirements on your chairbacks.
Yeah, your West chairbacks right here, those are covering there. So it's not each different thing you get. You don't have to say, let me add on. I've got 2 chairbacks at $600, and now I'm getting these as $150. You're not adding an additional $300. These up here, you could even switch this to 4, and it won't change anything down here at the bottom.
Still covered.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you did that. I was going to say, if you upgraded your basketball seats, let's say you wanted to move to one of the premium sections there at mid-court, let's say you went to 110 there, let's say you do 2 of those, same deal. So you're
still
not
the same price,
you're not out any more money.
Yeah. And I can even say, you know what? Some friends of mine like to go to soccer with me. I'm going to up those to 4. Same price. I can up these to 6, same price, because you're more than covered up here with your chairbacks.
Exactly. The only time you're going to go up above that 1,600 is if you, let's say you did 7. Let's say you had another buddy that wanted to join you at men's soccer. You go to 7, so then your requirement's going to be 1,700 instead of 1,600 because now you have 7 $100 requirements on your seats.
Yeah, so let's do this. We'll do one more calculation, and this is for someone that does not have a parking lot in one of the, parking spot in one of the premium spots here. Let's reset everything to 0, start over, and we'll do our only other contribution that we are going to go over on this calculator. And let's say they do not have chairbacks. So someone says, hey, it's great. I'd love to have a West Lot parking spot. I'd love to have 2 chairbacks, but they don't. So they don't have anything in the chairbacks on the west or the east. They are just in the other seats. There's no seating requirement that I see here to pick from for football, correct?
Correct.
All right. And let's say they want to get one in a parking spot, but they can't get in the West Lot where they want to yet. Either can't put it into the budget, or there's a waiting list, of course, for those. And let's just say they couldn't get it, but they said, I do want to get parking this year. First come, first serve, if I'm reading this correctly, in the Maple Lot this year, and they decide to get a spot in the Maple Lot. And then let's say that they are getting here in men's basketball, they're getting 1 season ticket. Women's basketball, they're getting 1 season ticket. Baseball here, they're getting 1 season ticket. And men's soccer, 1 season ticket. $200.
That is correct. Yeah, you're paying your $100 requirement for your parking spot in the Maple Lot, and then you've only got 1 season ticket for all those sports, so you're just paying one $100 commitment.
Yeah, and I hear this a lot from people that might not be aware of this. They think that the big green, again, it's for somebody giving $10,000, or it's somebody for $1,500 or $1,000 or whatever. But you're looking at $16.66 per month if you do the monthly on this to get to your 200, and that gives you a parking spot and season ticket availability for every ticketed sport here, and it's only $200.
And I'm glad you said that. I think that really just put a light bulb on in my head. We have a lot more $60, $100 members than any other level. and we need more of them. That is the lifeblood of the Big Green, are those, that entry level into the Big Green. I know I couldn't give you the number off the top of my head, but I'd say close to half of what we have, maybe more. So I think that if we could stretch out, get a wider base, obviously that makes us a lot stronger.
Yeah, and again, for having season tickets in all these different places, and you guys are not requiring them to have individual team contributions to get those. Like, the football, if it's not in the chairbacks, there's no seating fee on that. Parking, it's $100, but all these places down here, and this was only if we were in the sections and everything that require it. Let's see here. Men's soccer is all sections. Baseball, I think that covers all of them, doesn't it?
Yes.
I think that's every section. But football, there's not a requirement if you want to get in the end zone in the lower bowl, or if you want to get on the east sideline and things, and it's not the chairbacks, or the west sideline and it's not the chairbacks. There's not even a seating requirement. So if you're only coming to football, and you don't have to select these up here because you're not getting chairbacks, and you want to get a parking spot in the maple lot or in the garage, first come, first serve, so you could get the best spot that you ever wanted to get, your requirement to the Big Green is $100, which is the lowest level, $8.33 per month. And again, you can make more than that back from places that you're already dining out, or places that you're already frequenting here in the tri-state, or if you're from somewhere else, put your zip code in and see what Perks Connect discounts you might get in your place where you live right now or where you're traveling. Tyler, I'm going to switch back over to this real quick and just run down this again real quick. $100 here. I'm going to have to make my screen bigger so I can see this. $100 for one herd. We just talked about this. Contact your tax prep professional, but this qualifies as a charitable gift for your $100. You get the membership packet. You get the Big Green email that tells you everything that you need to know. They're at least once a week, but sometimes more than that. Tells you the schedule, tells you upcoming events, exclusive opportunities for Big Green members like you talked about before. And here you go. Reserve seating. We just went over that in the calculator. Away game and postseason tickets. You mentioned that earlier. If you're going up to Penn State, or if you want to go on the James Madison, ODU, these road games, you can get these tickets right here. Postseason tickets, you can get them. Season parking pass for football or basketball. We went over that on the calculator. You mentioned earlier here the 2020 Dugout and Tip-Off Club. And then down here, Big Green discount program, herd perks. And again, not mentioned here, but Perks Connect, the new that covers everywhere, not just here in the tri-state area. Hotels, you name it. All that for $8.33 a month for anyone that is watching or listening and has yet to join the Big Green. No better time right now than to do that.
And Russ, there's one little fun caveat in here that I missed going back through, so I'm glad you reviewed that. Let's say you do get a parking spot and you pay that $1,000 contribution.
Okay.
If you're at that $1,000 level, our external staff here has been gracious enough to offer us the opportunity to use the Athletics Creative Suite, which is over by baseball and softball. It's a new area. It was pretty neat. I went in there for the first time to get my headshot the day I came back. So if you're at that level, reach out to us. We'll try to get you scheduled in there. And basically, you get a photo shoot like you're a new recruit or a staff member. They have a lot of neat props in there, some cool backdrops. I think we're going to have a digital video board backdrop up there sooner than later. So that's a pretty neat little perk. I know it's not for everyone, but I'm sure there's maybe a family out there that maybe want to have the kids running with some bison or something. So pretty cool opportunity.
Yeah. So Tyler went over a whole lot of stuff here. I think we cleared up a lot of questions people may have. That contribution calculator is invaluable for someone that is not out here trying to contact you, contact Teddy, contact anyone with the big green and say, please help me out. I don't know. This is all too daunting. You can go on there right now and say, I either have this or I want this, and it tells you exactly what you need to make your contributions. And then you just divide by 12, and that's your monthly contribution. Or you divide by 4, that's your quarterly contribution. You don't have to pay that money all up front, one lump sum. You guys will work with them on different ways to spread out that payment.
Absolutely, and just be careful. I know I started using that calculator, and it kind of hooks you in. I don't have all those requirements, but I like to play with the calculator. So just be careful. You want to limit your screen time to about 10 to 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can see how someone could get on there and say, now, wait, I can add these and it doesn't up my requirements. So why don't I do that? Anyway, Tyler, thank you for coming on. I hope we cleared this up. One final thing, just want to let anyone know if they are considering an endowment or a major gift or anything like that, that they know how to get in touch with you now that you're back. If you would, give them that info on the best way to reach out to you.
Yeah, so you can reach me by phone or email. My phone here is 304-696-2696. A lot of 9s and 6s in there. And then my email address is simply my name, tyler.ferris@marshall.edu.
All right. Tyler, anything else that you want to say before we go out of here?
I appreciate you having me on. I am so excited. We are in the midst of baseball and softball, and we have some spring soccer going on. The women's basketball team is in the women's IT. There's a lot of fun stuff going on here on campus, and I'm more than happy to be back and running with the herd again.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you back. You were a great asset to the Big Green when you were here before, and it brightened my day to see that you were coming back to us. I think I even reached out to you via text and told you that. Yeah, welcome back, and let's do some big things with the Big Green. And anyone watching or listening, if you're not on board with the Big Green right now, this is your invite. Let's do it. Let's make Marshall keep going forward and not just keep up with, but outpace our other people that we're trying to outpace, our conference foes and anyone else across the country. And with that, I'm going to say, whether you see us at the Jack, whether you see us at the Joan, or whether you see us with that contribution calculator to see what we need to donate for the Big Green, no matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go herd. It's the Thundercast, and we'll see you very soon.